Hello and welcome back to my Fantasyland toy box. Today I'm here with Alice and we're going to build the Alice in Wonderland ride. And I'm going to start by building the scenery for this ride. And of course this is going to go over here behind the Mad Tea Party. And it's probably quicker to come into Spark mode. And I just want to show you, I've got the carousel running and Dumbo and the teacups and the canal boats. And you'll notice that meter is starting to get pegged. And so as we come in here and start trying to place things down, the activity meter on the right is kind of hovering around the pegged mark. And so it's going to be kind of difficult to put things down if we're fighting that meter. And that's why we have our button over here that turns everything off. So in case you were wondering why I was building this, this is why. So now we push that and we turn off everything. And you can see the carousel's not running. Dumbo and all of the little cars there have gone away. The teacups have stopped. And now when we go to try to place our terrain block in here, you'll notice that activity meter is way down at the bottom. So we're not going to be fighting that as we try to build the rest of our toy box here. So I'm going to begin with the scenery for the ride, because I haven't built that yet. And I've already placed the Creativitoys that I'm going to need, and I'll talk about that later. But now that King Arthur's Carousel is done, I know exactly how much memory I have left on the right there, as you can see. So I know just how much detail I can put into this ride. And I'm going to go ahead and start by placing down this long, flat terrain block, just like that. And to build this, you're going to need the power discs for Alice's Wonderland. This is the terrain, excuse me, this is the terrain and plant theme for some of the building pieces on this ride. And you're also going to need the Alice in Wonderland caterpillar vehicle, tongue twister. And as you can see, I've already placed the power disc down for that. That's sitting over here right now. I've also got the power disc down for that Alice's Wonderland for the terrain theme. And I'm also using a terrain theme called Through the Looking Glass, which was provided by one of the last updates to the game, and it's unlocked by placing the Alice figure on the Disney Infinity base. And the theme I'm talking about, I'll come in here and theme this piece of terrain. It's this one right here, Through the Looking Glass. And if you're on the PC, you probably don't have this. But if you can just use the Alice's Wonderland theme, that would be just fine. And that would be this one. Or you can use any of the grass themes that you want. You could use World of the Wisps. You could use the regular Fairy Tale Kingdom. Any of these would be fine. Even Briar Ridge grass theme would be fine. But I'm going to use Through the Looking Glass. And I'll apply that to be my theme. Or I'll apply that to this block. I'm not setting it to be my theme, because this is the only terrain block I'm putting down today. And there we go. There's the grass for the ride. And I kind of like that. It has a nice stitched look to it. Looks pretty cool. All right, and we are going to begin with the border for the ride, which is the castle. And we come to the castle pieces and building sets, group 6, the Cinderella castle pieces. I'm going to begin with this castle wall, and I'm going to put this basically one block out from the left edge of that block as we're looking at it in this direction, and I'm going to slide this right up against this house, just like that. And so that'll be the first piece of castle that we put down. And then we're going to put down a tower, and I'm going to use this one because I've already used that one over on those other walls. We're using it right here on that side, so I'm not using up any extra memory by adding a new castle piece that I'm not already using. So we'll put that one in. We'll put in another wall piece. And then we need the inside corner, and that would be right here. And that's going to sit in there just like that, followed by another tower. And by the way, if you're in Disneyland, the actual ride, I'm building the wall out so that the entrance to the ride comes in from this direction. And it's actually facing that way that you come into the ride at the real Disneyland. But since I don't have a walkway here that goes down in front of the castle, I'm kind of taking a little bit of liberty here and changing the orientation of this, just so you know. Of course, you can orient this any way you want in your toy box, but I thought this just made this look a little more finished in mine. All right, and then we're going to put down 2 of these, like that, followed by another tower, followed by another corner. All right, and then 2 more sections of wall, like this. And I'm going to use, let's see if I can find it here, this little castle wall outer corner, like that. And that I'll use for the end of the wall. So there, that blocks in where the ride is going to go. All right. So now we'll come down to the plants drawer, and we're looking at these customizable pieces underneath the plants drawer. And I'm going to put one back in here, and this is just providing the scenery for the ride. This is about the only piece that will fit in here nicely. The other pieces are a little bit too long. And we're going to put in this piece here in this corner, and I'll theme all of these in a moment. I just want to get them placed first. This piece is going to sit right in here on the corner like that. We're going to put this piece right here and another one, oops, right over here like that. And we'll put another one centered on this wall. Oops, if I can get it there, there we go. Okay, and let's see, let me grab my note here. Let's begin with this piece here next. So this one I'm going to orient with those purple flowers in that back corner like that. And we're going to tuck this right in here like so. And we'll put another one on this side. And for this one, we're going to turn it that way. Okay. And then we'll pick up this piece, and I'm going to flip this around, and we're going to put this, I'm using this as a measurement. It's actually going to go right there. So about 2 blocks away from that other one there. And we're going to flip this around about like that. And then this piece is going to sit in here like that. Okay. All right, and then another one of these. Let's see. And that is the right orientation. And I want to put this about here, lined up with the front edge of that block it's next to. So just like that with the purple flowers in that corner. And when I style this, this will create a little bit of an arch over top of the empty area there. And then we'll pick up 2 more pieces and put them in. This first one is going to sit in here about like that. Make sure I got this correct. It's actually like this. Yeah. Okay. And then we'll put one of these in here like that. Okay. And there's the scenery for the ride, which we'll style in a moment. I got a few more pieces I want to put down first, though. So over here, we're going to put down a couple of Briar Ridge trees. And I'm going to put this first piece in here like that. And then the next piece, I'm going to flip this around like this, not quite 1 block away, so about like there, and about half a block in like that. And that'll just create a nice border back here. And then we've got this empty space between these buildings, and so we're going to put a few trees in here. And I am actually watching this memory meter as I'm building just to see how much I'm actually using. So this tree I'm going to orient like this. I'm putting it right up next to the edge of that terrain seam. So this one goes in here like that. The next one is going to sit in the same spot, but right up against the edge of that piece of building that's sticking out. And I'm going to turn this so that little sprig is facing me on the left. So that one goes in there like that. And then I'm going to flip this around. And the next one is going to sit back here with that little sprig facing this way. And we're going to tuck this right up in here as close as I can get it, about like that. That's going to just put a nice background behind the Peter Pan ride when you look at it from this direction, and the Alice in Wonderland when you look at it from that direction. All right, and with that we're ready to go ahead and start styling these pieces. And let me back up to my screen grab here that shows all of the pieces together. Okay, so I'm going to use a mixture of pieces, mixture of themes. I'm going to start with this corner piece. Now, if you've got the Through the Looking Glass theme, because you're on 3.0 on one of the consoles and you've got that latest patch, that last patch they did, you have access to these pieces. Again, if you've put Alice down on the base to unlock it. And I'm actually going to use these. If you don't have that, you can use the Wonderland terrain corner. And I'm actually going to use this one. And it doesn't really matter. You could probably save a little memory by just sticking with that theme. But I've got a little bit of extra memory, and I kind of like the way this looks a little bit better. So I'm going to use that here, like that. And then the next piece over, I'm going to use that same Through the Looking Glass terrain strip. And the same thing over here. I'll use that same theme for that. And I'm going to use the same theme for this corner piece over here. And again, if you don't have that, you can use the Wonderland terrain corner, assuming you have that power disc. All right, and then the same for this piece. Okay. And we'll do these two as well in that theme. It's just a nice big mushroom for that one. And some big flowers for that one. So that kind of reminds me of the scenery you actually see on the ride. But for these two, I'm going to use, the rest of these actually, I'm going to use the Alice's Wonderland Power Disc theme. And so we're going to come over 2 pieces for this one. That puts those in. This one puts the big red tree in here with the little signs that say this way and that way and all that. This one is going to give us the tea party table. And then these 3 here will give us the trees with the lanterns. And these are the Alice in Wonderland trees from around the tea party in the movie, in the animated movie, with the lanterns that are there, and they actually light up at night, if you remember from my playthrough video. And if you wanted to, you could use those trees over here with the tea party, but I kind of liked these better because they spread out a little bit more. The trees are much bigger and leafier in the actual ride, and these are actually kind of small, So that's why I'm using those other trees. But it would actually save memory if I took these out and reused these trees. So just so you're aware of that. All right, so there is the ride. And then for the scenery around it, we'll use the Briar Ridge theme. And there's been a lot of questions about this theme. This is a 3.0 only theme, so if you are working inside 2.0 or 1.0 to build your Disneyland, this isn't going to work because this theme is only available in 3.0. So I'm going to set that, and that creates that nice big tree. And this theme is available in the toy store or unlocked automatically. I can't remember which one it is. But there's nothing really unusual about this theme. If you have 3.0, you should have this or be able to purchase it from the toy store. I don't believe there's anything special you have to do to unlock it. There, that creates a nice background behind the castle wall and behind the Peter Pan ride on this side. It helps it look a little bit more finished. So I like that. Okay, and now that we have the scenery, we can build the ride itself. And this ride is basically the exact same concept as the Storybook Land canal boats that we built earlier. The difference is I'm not using the little Pirates of the Caribbean boat here. I'm going to use a power disc vehicle, which is the Alice in Wonderland Caterpillar. And so I've got a vehicle summoner that I've placed out here ahead of time. And we also need the path. So I'm going to come up to the Creativitoys drawer, to the path creator. And I'm going to start this about right here and about in the middle of the walkway, probably more towards the right here. And we'll drop our first point there. And then we're basically just going to create a circular path here around the inside of the ride. And I can adjust these points as we go along if necessary. I'll put this next one about the middle of the table. Next one will come out over here, about like that. I'm going to put a number of points in here just so I can kind of help get this oriented the way I want. And I'm probably going to move some of these points. But first let's come over here and set the properties for the path and close that loop so we can see exactly where that path is going. And that's the only flag that I'm going to change in here. Everything else is going to stay the same. And now that we have that, let's go ahead and see what we've got. So this is coming out a little bit too far. So we're going to pull this in a little bit. Like that. I'm going to move this one over like that. That looks a lot better. This one's coming around this corner nicely. That's not too bad. I'm trying to stay in the middle of the lane here because I think that's really important. Let's go ahead and leave this one up here because this kind of moves in this direction towards the entrance. That's where the player is going to hop on. So I think that's pretty good. All right, the next thing we're going to do is come over to our vehicle summoner, and I'm going to connect this to the path with a new path connection. Like so. And for the vehicle summoner's properties, let's look at that. Under generated vehicle options, I am going to turn on orient along path so that it actually drives around the path. We'll leave the driving physics off and loop is good. All right, and then the only thing we need to do now is hook up our buttons in the command center. And this first button over here on the right is connected to the level starter, so that's actually what we want to connect up, is our level starter. So we'll do a new logic connection on that, on catalyze. And we'll come over to our vehicle summoner. And we'll scroll down to the hexagonal power discs and select Alice in Wonderland's Caterpillar. And again, if you're on the PC and you don't have power discs, I'm not exactly sure where you find the vehicle in that list. It might be under Toy Box, but I don't know for sure. Maybe somebody can chime in on the comment section and let me know. All right, and on the other button, we'll do a new logic connection. When pressed, we're going to come over again to that vehicle summoner and remove the vehicle. So we go all the way to the bottom and remove all. So when we want to stop the toy box, that will take care of that. And that is it. Let's go ahead and turn it on and take it for a ride. So I'm going to come over here, exit out of the editor, and I'll take the power discs off the Disney Infinity base. And then we'll push the button for the level starter and start it up. And you'll notice that activity meter is going up and up, because we got a lot of stuff animated and moving now. And you can see the little carts going around the ride. Okay, let's hurry and hop in. Take it for a spin. And there we go. And like many of the rides at Disneyland, we're just looking at the scenery. There's nothing too exciting about this one, but it's here with the actual car, which is good, which is why it's so nice to have that power disc. And it's also fun to race with. But there's the ride. You can ride it around as much as you like, and I think that turned out really good. I like that. And then you can see how that looks from ground level with those trees behind the castle wall on either side. I think that looks really good. All right, at this point you can move the vehicle summoner underneath the terrain and take care of that. You'll probably have to turn off everything in order to do that. And with that, the Alice in Wonderland ride is done, and that means all of the rides in this toy box are finished. Next time, I'll build the Small World facade and put the finishing touches on this toy box. In the meantime, I want to remind you that you can find a logic diagram on my blog to help you connect the Creativitoys for this ride, though you probably don't need it. It's a simple ride to build. You can also subscribe to my channel by clicking my photo in the lower right corner. That's all for me today. Take care.